In this video, I'll be taking apart the Unihertz Titan Slim. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and follow me on Twitter so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And if you need any tools, there are links in the description. To start off, both SIM trays need to be removed. Here's a better look at the SIM trays. Next, we'll need to use a hairdryer or a heat gun to apply heat to the backplate to loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then we'll use a plastic pry tool to pry the backplate off. Here's a better look at the glass backplate. There are 11 Phillips screws which need to be removed. Now the plastic covers can be lifted up and removed. There are some antenna lines drawn on this top plastic cover which has light gray color lines, and the dual LED flash is located on this flex cable. The NFC antenna is located on this plastic cover, as well as the vibrator motor which is on the back side. Now the bottom speaker assembly can be removed. There are some more antenna lines drawn on the speaker assembly, and there's a mesh filter over the speaker opening. At this point, the battery flex cable can be disconnected, followed by the rest of the flex cables. Here's a better look at the 8 megapixel front facing camera. The main board can now be lifted up and removed. Connected to the main board, there's a 48 megapixel primary camera, and this camera does not have OIS or optical image stabilization. The camera connector can be disconnected by just popping it off. There's a rubber gasket or cover over the secondary microphone. Here's a better look at that. As well as graphite film over the shields to help transfer heat. There's also a liquid damage indicator sticker, which is this white sticker over here. Once the graphite film and copper tape are peeled back, we can see thermal pads on these chips. Both SIM readers are located on the back side of the board, as well as an infrared or IR blaster on top, and the primary microphone located on bottom. There's more graphite film on this side to help transfer heat. Once the films are peeled off, we can see thermal paste on these chips and a thermal pad on this one. Here's a better look at the RAM and processor with the thermal paste and thermal pad removed. To remove the battery, there are two adhesive pull tabs on the bottom to help you pry the battery off. Well, that's one way of removing it. Here's a better look at the 4100 mAh battery. To remove the charger port flex cable, this small green board first needs to be lifted up and removed. Now the charger port flex cable can be peeled off and removed. Here's a better look at the charger port, and there's a rubber gasket around the charger port itself. There's a single Phillips screw which is holding on the keyboard that needs to be removed. There's some adhesive holding on the keyboard, so at this point you could just pry off and remove the keyboard. Here's a better look at the keyboard and fingerprint reader. This flex cable is for the fingerprint reader, and this one goes for the keyboard. If you needed to replace the screen, you'd have to remove the back plate, and then remove the screws in the plastic covers, disconnect the battery cable and pry the battery off, then disconnect these flex cables, heat up the front of the phone where the screen is to loosen up the adhesive underneath, pry the old screen off, apply new adhesive and reapply the new screen, making sure you run these flex cables back to the opening in the mid frame, and then you just reassemble the phone. Moving on, The flex cable for the volume keys and power button is located on this side, and there's a plastic bracket holding it in place, so if you need to replace those, you just have to lift up and pull out this plastic bracket. The same goes for the button on this side. The proximity sensor flex cable is located on top, as well as the earpiece speaker, which is located here, and that's also held down with some adhesive. For the repairability score on this phone, I give it a 4 out of 10. Now it's time to put this phone back together. Once everything's back in place, apply new adhesive and reapply the back plate. Flip over the phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.